Time for another weekly Q&A session as we get this one underway. If you're new here or if you're wondering what this is, it's a similar setup to the weekly live streams, except instead of live, it's pre-recorded, and we'll be fielding questions from, of course, the YouTube members community and then also Discord as well. So you can participate 100% freely if you follow the link in the description below to the Discord. And if you want priority, of course, then just join the YouTube members. All right, sweet. So I've been requested a lot to do like just a very quick Bitcoin analysis kind of preceding these videos. So I suppose we'll just go over some very short-term menial things and leave the big ones for tomorrow. But I'm still looking at this overall model right here where we have seen a very similar sort of expansion phase followed by contraction phase for price over the past about a month and a half now. So since mid-November, we have seen Bitcoin enter into these week-long or 7 to 8 day long upside moves from low to high, typically about 15%. We've seen this once, twice, and thrice. And then those upside moves are followed by about a 10%-ish correction over the course of 4 to 5 days. Like you see 4 days right here, 5 days right here. And then we did see, of course, this next correction happen on time. However, this correction coming down a little bit lower than the prior ones at 15% from high to low thus far. Also shorter as well. This one has been 3 days rather than the other two being 4 days and 5 days. So a bit of a change of behavior right there. And I would say that overall, my fear here for Bitcoin, or it's not necessarily like a fear, but for Bitcoin, but I mean, because analysis is fucking neutral at the end of the day. But the main thing is that, Bitcoin very likely to bounce this week. I do think we're going to, or we probably have already begun these green phases over here. But this bounce does have the potential to confirm a reversal because we do have a new daily lower low compared to what we did see back on over here, which was at the December 10th low right here. So, with Bitcoin coming lower than that region, that does have the potential to actually put in a reversal. We have a lower low, but we do not have a lower high just yet. Where would I expect a lower high? Well, you drawing an inverted fib right here. Let me just see where the major areas are. I mean, pretty obvious area right here essentially anywhere between 100,000 to 105,000 would be questionable, but especially this area here between 100 and 102, because, that would be a great place for a lower high if things really are going to come down. If that happens, if you do see a rejection on a bounce this upcoming week, I'm not saying it's going to happen on Monday, but, sometime during this next week, and you see a major rejection right there, that's going to be a good indication, at least for myself, that Bitcoin very likely does come down to 85 to 88,000 bucks. I do think that would still be a low, and I don't think that the bull market's over, but that's what I'd be looking at. All right, sweet. Oh, also, before we get into the Q&A, I should let you know a very soft introduction to the sale going on because it's Christmas week, or it's holiday week. I mean, now it's Christmas week. It's all good, man. We can celebrate all holidays here. We have Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Christmas as well. And then do the Muslims have something? Well, I guess not around now, but we'll do Ramadan Day as well. I don't actually know when that is. I don't know where any of these are, to be honest, except for Christmas. That's the only one that doesn't seem to change its date anyways. But the code is ELSA, ELSA, in all capitals, because it's also going to be Elsa's birthday relatively soon here. The Quant Prime will award you 25% off on the lifetime of your subscription. So if you want to create, test, and automate your trades, then that would be the one to check out. Of course, all the other programs are going to be 20% off with that same code, ELSA, in all capitals. All right, now let's get to the actual Q&A. We'll start off here, of course, with the members on YouTube. I need to take care of time. Okay, we're good there. Probably need to take off my pants soon too, because it's already hot in here. But we have a lot of familiar faces, actually. Or sorry, this is the wrong one. Let me go to the most recent week. There we go. Or is that December 14th? Or yes, it is. Oh, okay. My bad. All right. We have Martin Sean Hunt. He's first, and he is asking, could you talk a little bit about confirming local highs and lows, more specifically in the context of confirming divergences? How do you identify key levels that need to be closed above or below in order to confirm the high? I mean, I get where this question is going. I think it's best done with an example. Let me just pull up a fresh chart. So this is the one thing that I do on this channel that I think is not fully 100% objectively defined, because it's very difficult to to code in like what a high or low will be. There's always going to be, you know, some nuanced interpretation of, you know, how to define a high or low. And different people do it different ways as well. But the way that I do it is I'm looking for a clear and obvious stop and reverse point. And until, you know, until some sort of a consolidation is resolved on one side, we don't really have a confirmation of like a local high or local low. So for example, here on the daily, you do see this high right here. It's very obvious in hindsight, of course, but you wouldn't really know that that's a high unless you go down to like the 4-hour time frame. You start to see, oh, okay, this thing actually starts to really break down below about whatever this low was right here at about 103,800. Therefore, if the daily closes below there, you know, essentially the low of December 16th, then we have a confirmed local high. And thus divergences can be compared with each other because now we can compare like to like in terms of what momentum also does, like the RSI we're doing. You can see in this case, the RSI right here was significantly lower than, you know, all of the last major tops, which were in the low 90s. So ultimately that would confirm your divergence. And same thing for the bottom side as well. Typically, highs and lows come in. I like literally need to take off my pants right now because it's really fucking hot in here. I don't know why, but I guess Finns are just really good at insulating their houses. But typically highs and lows come with 3 to 7 periods on whatever time frame you're looking at. So in this case, you know, you have 1, 2, 3, there's 3 right there. And what's up, our new friend, Antonio. By the way, if you find this content interesting, please consider liking and subscribing. But yeah, over here, this one taking 1, 2, 3, 4, and really confirmed on the 5th over here where it comes below that low. So again, it does take a bit of a nuanced interpretation. It does take a little bit of, I guess, you know, a little bit of experience. Of course, you can go down to a line chart as well. I think that makes things a lot more easy. You know, it's easy to kind of identify the big stop and reverse points here, especially on higher term timeframes. You know, we have a low, we have a high, we have a low, we have a high, we have a low, we have a high, we have a low, we have a high. You get the idea. So when in doubt, put it to a line chart. It should be obvious. If it's not obvious, it's probably not a high or low. That's kind of the main gist that I'd have on that. All right. Oh, and then also asking about whiff on the daily. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at whiff. You love these shitcoins, don't you? I think the time for shitcoins is over for at least for a while. The LARP lines here are, I still think this is exactly what's going to happen. I don't know when I did this chart last, probably the last time you asked about it, maybe like a couple weeks ago. But it seems to me like the LARP lines are playing out perfectly, so I don't really have anything to add here. I do think you're probably in a bouncy territory here. Bounce can bring you up, you know, alongside Bitcoin bouncing somewhere around 100. You know, this thing could bounce easily to probably not more than $3, but maybe somewhere a little bit below $3. And then, you know, I'd be looking for it to come back down again and at best do something like this. I mean, this would be the bullish look. Obviously, if Bitcoin breaks down significantly, this thing's going to break down as well. And I would really not outrule the the likelihood that this thing, after a bounce, you know, probably does bounce this week, returning somewhere back down around these lows that you saw from August of this year. You know, wouldn't be surprised to see this thing trading around $1.50. Still, that should be a bouncy region, but yeah. Anyways, okay, cool. We have Arms Private, I think. Hi, sir. How are you doing? I'm doing all right, man. How are you doing? Thank you for asking. Do you expect altcoins to rally after Bitcoin peaks in 2 to 3 weeks and Bitcoin to go sideways for that period? Well, we're making a massive assumption here. Yes, I do think that that's probably what happens with Bitcoin. And I do think that probably will lead to altcoins doing all right versus Bitcoin. You know, I absolutely hate this chart, but just for simplicity's sake, and you could look at any altcoin for that matter as well. But I'm still looking at Bitcoin dominance is likely putting in a high within this region. You know, my conditions for this one not confirming a high and actually being bullish, I suppose again would be it just needs to trade above Friday's high. But until then, this to me looks like it's in some toppy behavior. We already see potential for hidden bearish divergence between this high over here and these set of highs over here. So, and keep in mind that Bitcoin dominance was at 61.38 at that point. So, you know, a lot of divergences building within this case. I do think that this probably puts in a local high right here, and it probably does come down, at least retest these lows, something like that, maybe make new lows. If it does, that probably bodes well for, I don't think all altcoins actually. I think that this past week of price action is confirming everything that I've said, and it's becoming painfully obvious now, and I think to a lot of people out there as well, that people looking for alt season, it's not going to happen in the way that a lot of people think it is in like 2017, because people typically have like a mental like sticking point on 2017 and a little bit lesser to 2021. But that was a time when all alts just went to the literal fucking moon and beyond, and that was an insane time, totally insane. I think that some alts, the strong alts, will be going to the moon. They will be going on moon missions, but they should be very, very obvious, because even yesterday during Bitcoin's short-term attempt at a bounce, we did see a lot of altcoins, strong altcoins, make new all-time highs. Like, make new all-time highs. If that's your shitcoin, that's a good sign. Or retesting prior all-time highs. If that's your shitcoin, that's a good sign. That is probably going to be a big winner. The other ones, yes, they're going to get bounces, but they're not going to get tremendously massive bounces. I know that this, for whatever reason, seems to really piss people off when I say that, but again, I think it's quite obvious, and I think people who are not lobotomized or beholden to their favorite shitcoins are starting to agree now as well, if they haven't already. Anyways, Jamal Amines says Keycat USDT on the daily weekly. Let's check it out. Okay, Keycat, keyboard cat. I should have known. Okay, at least it made new highs above the May highs, so that's so there's that. Let me see what time frame you're looking at, by the way. Daily and weekly. Okay, yeah, daily and weekly. All right. Weekly, not much of a weekly here to really be looking at. Daily, like Bitcoin, I do think you're getting ready for a bounce relatively soon. Does it maybe try to retest Friday's low before that bounce? I don't know. But, just like Bitcoin, I do think it's going to bounce relatively decently right here. That is a pretty big move if it gets all the way up there, but that's still a lower high. So it have to be kind of on, full on reversal watch. In fact, this one's actually already confirmed reversal. You have high, low, lower high, and already came back down below that past low. So that must be a lower low. So, on this bounce, have to be looking for a lower high. And if it does confirm a lower high, then, the next breakdown target is going to be closer to like 0.2%, I suppose. So, yeah. All right, let's get on to the Discord now. We'll start off over here. It looks like we have a lot of people today, but we'll see how many we get through. We're already 13 minutes into this video, so I'll at least record 45 minutes. Maybe we go a little bit longer. By the way, for anyone watching this, you can contribute freely to this Discord community. You just need to first you need to join the Discord community, which is in the link in the description below. And then second, you need to find the K video content section and find the most recent weekly Q&A. And I just posted the new one for December. I call it December 22 because I do that when I post it. All right. Let's start over here. Okay, I want to see people's names. Smicky says, for an automated algo position, do you ever trade manually around the position? Okay, have I ever done it? Yes. Did I regret it? Typically, yes. Mostly, yes. Take profit with the intention to re-enter and hedge. Look, I know the temptation to do this is very, very strong because I feel it myself, and I've given into this temptation, many times since really employing these tools. I know that you're in the Quant Prime over here, which is probably where this question is coming from, but and I've been doing it for I think like 3 or 4 years now, and for the first year to year and a half, like I had this fucking disease where I would feel so strongly about a position that I'd be like, I'd feel like, okay, I need to take profit right now because there's no way that this thing goes higher, or I need to close the position right now because there's no way this trade is going to be a winner. And what I found was over time is that while I was right a few times, which obviously promoted that behavior, I was wrong way more than I was right, and ultimately it ended up costing me money. If you look at like the net benefit for both, so. I suggest not to, because again, when you're using the Quant Prime and you are setting up strategies, those strategy statistics are are only relevant for you if you play that strategy out exactly as it was, because that's exactly how the testing is. Whenever you make a change to that, you're no longer trading the same strategy. Therefore, you cannot trust those same statistics. So, yeah, man. I will take a sip of this water. Crypto Rect RD says, Sir Crown, can you please review PAL AI on weekly? All right. Okay. PAL AI. Is it a thing? It's not showing up so far, but let me make sure that I actually typed it in properly. It's not looking good, sir. I'm not going to be looking at it if it's not on TradingView, sir. So unfortunately, that one cannot be done this week, sir. Mr. Rectops says, GM, Elsa and Crown, good morning to you as well, sir. If you could only trade on 2 technical indicators, what would they be? BBWP and moving averages. Yeah, simple stuff. Now, if I could include paid indicators, it would be the HPDR and probably not BBWP, because that will cover that aspect in kind of like in a secondary way. So I guess I'd probably want to be looking at probably the HPDRO, honestly. It gives you directional volatility. So yeah. Free versions and then paid versions, of course, as well. All right. Myth Reindeer says, how's the day going? It's very dark here, very dark and cold and rainy, actually. But it's good for Christmas, you know? Anyways, I remember you saying that when the strategy P&L curve starts to make lower lows, it's probably a good time to change something in it. Is there a good way to spot a good before but failing strategy now, as a lower lows phase might be when you already lost a good chunk of your profits? Yeah, great question. So there is ways to do this. It's not going to be super perfect, but I want to give you an example. Okay, let's just pull up this strategy right here. Let me just, I need like numbers to get an example. So this is just going to be like straight up, just random stats from a random strategy. And yeah, here we go. Okay, so you can see that this strategy on the top line statistics over the past, I think this is being tested the last couple of years. I'm not running a deep test right now. It's just going to take too much time, and I just want an example here. But yeah, for the past couple of years, we can see that the profit factor is 1.38. We can see the percent profitable is about 60%. These two numbers I draw a lot from. So what I will do, or what I'm like also keeping track of as I'm running a strategy is, okay, one, and most importantly, is that percent profitable still accurate? And what's the best way to do that? We'll obviously need a sample size. So sample size, it can't be too small. That's kind of the problem with it. So naturally it will take time, but I'd say this should be like an ongoing thing depending upon your timeframes and what's more relevant, maybe like 10 to 20 trades. You should really be looking at that number and seeing, okay, is that matching up decently well? It's not going to be perfect, but if you start to see massive differences there, that could be an early indication. Second, the profit factor, I want to be, it's less so in the profit factor. It's actually more so over here in the performance summary, where we look at the average winning trade and average losing trade. Like, I want to see those numbers be very consistent over time. Of course, if you're in the quant prime, which I believe that you are, or you probably are, what you can do is you can export. I've actually posted a video on this. You can export this data here. You can put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and I go over exactly how to do this and everything. It's very, very easy to do, by the way. And then you can pull up more enhanced statistics, not just getting your average winning trade and average losing trade, but also the median for that as well. And you can get a very good idea of kind of what a per trade should be looking like. And so when you start to get like major outliers there, like let's say, your winning trades over the last 10 trades are no longer returning 1.89%, but they're returning like 1%. Okay. That's a massive fucking difference. Or if your losing trades start to go from, 2% to 3%, okay, massive fucking difference. And it's time to consider, maybe something else is going on. So yeah. All right. Back onto it over here. Let's see what else we got. We have BTSTRM. He says, "Hey, Crown, thank you for daily content. All good, man. Thank you. Abundantly entertaining. That's great. It's great to hear, man. Thank you for the feedback. Could you please take a look at this highly esteemed piece of technology, GLQ? Well, let's see. Is it on TradingView? That's the real question. GLQ. Is that it? Yes, it is. Graph Link. I feel like they're just combining shitcoin names now. They've run out of good ones. Yeah, same thing as what I think a lot of these altcoins are going to do. You know, you hit your range highs, you hit your weekly range highs, right? Somewhere around, I mean, this one's actually even higher. So it even rejected a little bit lower than there, which is not a good sign. But you know, short term this week, there should be a bounce this week. Maybe it gets back up to like 80 cents. I don't know, something like that. But I do think that this one, again, comes down probably closer to your August lows, you know, August, September lows. Probably doesn't make a new low. If it does make a new low, okay, big problems. And this thing's going to fucking fall apart to like 2 cents. But, you know, I do think that kind of the bullish view for a lot of these shitcoins is going to be short term bounce, come back down over the next month, and then kind of work its way sideways and up from there. That'd be the bullish view. So just, you know, while I do think it will eventually come, you know, a little bit further down than its current low, I wouldn't want to see new lows below, especially your August lows. That would be very, very concerning for the long term. I mean, it's not concerning. It's fucking wrecked at that point. There's no bullish view. There's no bullish hopium at that point. Anyways, and happy and Merry Christmas to you as well, sir. Yes, your coins are fucked. Merry Christmas. Texas Sig Ep 13. Fuck. Oh yeah. Oh, it's a fucking frat. Actually lived right across the street from Sig Ep, or I think it was Sig Ep. No. I forget the names. I totally forget the names. I was like big into this in college as well, but now I don't fucking remember. Anyways, Olak round, correct. Thanks. Last week's request was in fact for Moonwell. Thank you for following up on that. Would you share your thoughts on the chart for Clearpool on the daily and weekly? All right, Clearpool daily and weekly. Okay. Cesspool, Clearpool. Maybe I type it in properly. Oops. Okay. Didn't like that for whatever reason. Okay. Interesting here. It's had pretty fucking nice pop. But like most shitcoins from 2021, nowhere even moderately close to the prior all-time high. I need to go to log scale here to get a better view. But actually, in a much better position. See, this would be an example of a better one. Much better position than the last few shitcoins that we've looked at, actually. I say that because, well, one, it's not already back down around the summer lows, you know, for one. That's a big win in my book. And it is using this prior high here from March, April region to kind of base off of thus far. So perhaps it even does try for a higher low there. But I would say there are, I'd say there's a good reason to believe that this thing does go lower. You do have obviously a significantly lower high in weekly RSI. Like weekly is a big time frame for this thing. And while this is technically actually not confirmed a local high here on the weekly just yet, we need to see this one at minimum come back down below last week's low of 36 and close below there. You know, you can't really say that divergence is confirmed just yet, but if and when that does happen, you're going to see this thing come down to like a quarter, maybe even 20 cents, something like that. That should be a good place for another attempt at a higher low. But yeah, the higher term timeframes that I look at here, the better it looks to me, to be honest. I would actually express skepticism that it actually does confirm a local high right here. Looking at the monthly, I mean, that doesn't really seem to be the case. But, you know, when all of the other shitcoins look a certain way and when Bitcoin looks a certain way, is this thing going to do something different? Possible, yes. Probable, no. But short term should try for a bounce here. How would you know that it's like everything's all good? Anywhere above Thursday's high, especially on a daily closing basis, that starts to look pretty fucking good. But yeah, an example of a stronger shitcoin thus far. And, you know, assuming that it does base off here and does not confirm a local high, I'd be looking for this thing to make a move. I don't know how long it takes, but somewhere in like 75 to 80 cents, which is fucking big for this thing that trades at 43 cents right now. Anyways, some more water would be good. Okay. We have Tuturu. Hello, good day, sir. Link long-term price action. Finally busting through after $28 target. I believe we did have a $28 target for this thing, or a $30 target or something. Yeah, $28 target was certainly hit. Very similar to the last chart, actually. In danger of confirming a local high, which would thus confirm regular bearish divergence and probably imply this thing comes back down to like 15, 16 bucks. But would need to come below yesterday, or not like yesterday's, but last week's low and close below there. Until then, you know, it is going to try to base off of 19.5. It does look like, but I wouldn't say that this one is quote unquote safe until you're back above about 28.5 bucks. At that point, yeah, I guess get bullish again and look for a move towards 40, something like that. But, you know, for right now, this really does look like for at least a good place for a consolidation. I mean, you're seeing weekly BBWP extremes. Again, that potential for bearish divergence right there. I mean, these things, you know, I am inclined to say this thing will try another downside move and probably will at some point trade into the upper teens. But, you know, does that provide the impetus for another higher low? I think you kind of have to run with that until proven otherwise. You know, monthly is not terrible here either. It could spend most of this, you know, or it could spend the rest of this month consolidating plus most of January and still still have a nice upside move. But here's another obvious one as well. If you see the monthly close, if you see the monthly closure anywhere below 20 bucks, I mean, that's, yeah, down. Rejection for a long time. But I'd give it a chance here again. An example of not as strong as the other one, but a little bit on the stronger side compared to a lot of the other shit that we've seen today. Okay. Let's see. Dom Chan. I just want to say that you're awesome, man. Learned so much from you from 2020. Thanks. Appreciate that, man. That's a very, very kind message. Thank you, sir. I am blushing. I'm very embarrassed, or I'm not embarrassed, but that's very nice. Thank you, ma'am. Sunburst says, "Hello, sir, Mr. Crown, sir. Could you please do an FTM analysis on the daily?" Okay. All right, so prior cycle shitcoin. Let's see how this one is doing. Again, an example of something a little bit better here. You can see that it's not as good as the past two charts because this monthly is actually already red. And below what I would consider a very critical region, which was your March highs, would like to see it close above there. This thing's going to extend this rally towards $2. But again, you know, you have to respect the higher lows here on the monthly time frame, and I imagine the weekly as well. So on this downside move, should be looking for yet another higher low. This one does have bearish divergence, and I do expect that, I mean, the easy target's been hit. The next target would be 66 to 68 cents. So I'd want to see what happens after that. But yeah, I do think that this one will probably come a little bit lower first before everything else is done. And the monthly is certainly concerning at this point. I'm actually kind of struggling with this one because I do get signals here that this thing does want to trade higher overall. So I should be looking for a higher low on this dump. Let's see, how much has it dumped thus far? 40 fucking %. Oh my God. Oh my fuck. It looks like nothing too. That is crazy. Yeah. So, you know, I think, I do think that it likely does come lower, probably closer to like 70 cents or so. But I should be looking for a higher low there. Higher term timeframes, you know, again, when I see a jewel signal like this, I have to be angled towards the upside overall. So this should be a correction. This is obviously a monthly time frame, but, you know, again, could correct all of this month and then perhaps a good portion of January before it does try another move. I can also tell you exactly where I would not want to see this one come below, which would be your November lows. That'd be very, very concerning. Until then, you know, all pullbacks are higher lows. So yeah. All right. Banksy Rules says, "Hey, Crown, if I use DEX tools as my primary charting guide, as I said before, not an active trader as much as a long-term investor, and I adjust the settings to show the weekly chart, does this mean the same weekly closing prices you always reference to determine if there's an indication of divergence?" Yes. Or at least it should be. I mean, all of them should be pinpointed at 00 UTC, whatever, you know, time zone you're in, that is equivalent to, that should be your closure for daily, weekly, any sort of daily time frame. Yeah. Also, can we secure tickets for the fight in Vegas through you? At some point you will, but it's so far away in May now that I don't think that, well, they certainly don't have the tickets on sale yet. I mean, they actually have another event before that one even happens. So I expect like maybe a month, maybe 2 months before May. So, somewhere around like March, April, tickets will go on sale. I will definitely let you know. You can get them through me. You can probably get them through, or you can certainly get them through the promoter as well. I'll ask to reserve a section for our community, of course. I'd be happy to do that. It's just, as I think as long as we have enough prior notice, it shouldn't be an issue to set up. But of course, the promoters are gonna, they're gonna want like a pretty penny for that. But whatever, that's their prerogative. Anyways. All good, man. And much love from San Francisco. Cynic says, hello, Crown. Can you cover a weekly, monthly for Alchemist AI? It's on TradingView, I guess. Alchemist AI. It is on TradingView. I am shocked. Weekly and monthly. Is there a weekly and monthly? This thing's been around for literally 4 weeks, sir. There is no weekly time frame to analyze, nor is there a daily. Even an hourly is too low of a time frame here. But whatever this thing is, so far, don't like it. So far, really don't like it. I mean, could it bounce here? It could bounce all the way up to 70, sorry, not 70, but 7 cents and still be bearish as fuck. Again, this thing has a very, 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 very limited amount of history, so I don't trust analysis too much on something like this. But if you put a gun in my head and said analyze it, I'd say probably tries for a bounce relatively soon. That bounce is probably just yet another lower high and probably does trade lower overall. Here's the real chart. Bad. So this looks like the typical topping shitcoin chart of peace. Does something like this, boom, and then boom. So yeah. Mr. Asi Barash, I think. Fuck, I forgot it from last week, man. I apologize. Do you still see this cycle similar to the 2017 cycle, since Bitcoin and Ethereum now have institutional investors buying and holding? So their price action is a bit more stable, still way more volatile than stocks, but alts still have the crazy 20 to 60% swings that we've got used to in different cycles. Do you think the different swings that alts are having could give us an indication where we are comparing to 2017? Maybe. I honestly don't have a strong opinion on that. My strong opinion is on what we agree on, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum, or Bitcoin especially, seeing lower volatility compared to past cycles. Still very high volatility overall. Newer altcoins, yeah, they can do crazy things, and I would say yes. When you start to see altcoins go parabolic to the upside and then fucking diabolic to the downside, like that's a sign of the end times. It is. When these things when these things move like 50, 60, 70%, around the highs, I mean, that's that typically doesn't happen unless if you're like in the end stages of some sort of a strong market, in this case, bull market. Fubaka says, good name, hey Crown, during the last big and prolonged stock bear market, 2008, Bitcoin was not around yet. Do you think Bitcoin will behave differently compared to a normal to a normal Bitcoin bear market? I'm guessing you're asking in the context of like a stock market, bear market, and how would you adapt your trading strategy? Well, the trading strategies are going to switch from long to short, obviously. That would be the primary focus. Always trade with the trend. That is just going to be the easiest way to, put several points of probability in your favor in terms of your hit rate. But if we go over here, first, let's verify that statement. I mean, technically you're in a bear market if price comes down 20% or more. That happened in 2022. So technically there was a bear market there. What did Bitcoin do? It went down as well. Went down more percentage wise. That's really all that I'd have to say. That's what I think would happen. For reference, 2008 was here. So, this took what? This was like 60% down over 530 days. This over here was 27% down over 280 days. So yeah, that is actually an order of magnitude different. I would just think that Bitcoin goes down as well, but long term the macro trend probably remains intact, but it'd probably come down. Knowing Bitcoin could come down like fucking 70-80% and and then somehow remain fine at the end of the day. But yeah, I don't have super well thought out opinions on that, because obviously we don't have that information. But I'd have to believe, like intuitively, that Bitcoin's gonna it's not going to perform well. It's going to perform worse than whatever the major indice that you're looking at on traditional markets is going to be doing. Other than that, like I wouldn't say, well, it's going to go down exactly this amount of percent. I don't fucking know. Droid says, hey, Crown, what do you think about Bitcoin monthly accumulation distribution indicator clearly turning down? Is a top already in? I mean, it was turning down before the top was in already, and it still continued up, which is actually why I've started to not use it as much. But yeah, it is certainly a concerning thing, but it hasn't been as accurate recently, so I don't look at it as much. Jack Sparrow says, will you have Fibbo Swanee back on the channel? Literally just 2 days ago. All good, man. Yeah. All right. Babert Kaz says, give me Tau now, in-depth analysis and price prediction. Okay. No, we're not going to do that. Anyways, we'll move on to someone who's a little bit more. Let's give him a red dildo, actually. How about a red dildo? Red. There it is. Girthy red dildo. Moali 31 says, Mara on the daily breakout from descending wedge. Thanks, Father. Sure. Mara, okay. Is it breaking out of the daily wedge? It's got a lot of work to do. The higher term timeframes. No, I would say it's actually breaking down. I think the weekly view is probably the best one on this one. Similar to Bitcoin here, probably has one more try around the lows, like $18.50. Probably tries for a bounce from there. Does that bounce actually reverse this thing? I don't know if I trust it. No. I think you're probably going to see something like this. Boom, bounce, come back down around these lows, and then maybe like this if it's going to be bullish. But I think it's going to take its time, man. Let's go to a quarterly, just out of curiosity. I mean, the quarterly is trying to reverse, so yeah, I'd probably go with that. Just I don't think it's ready just here, and can come down a little bit more, maybe even fill this gap at like $16.50, and then try for some sideways and up from there. And it just takes its time, many months, which does bode well for an extended cycle. I have been saying in the past that I think that the cycle probably ends in Q1, end of Q1 of this coming year. If things spend the first 2-3 months correcting, I'm not going to think that anymore. I'm going to think that the cycle probably ends closer to the end of the year. Anyways, we'll move on now. And okay, we're 37 minutes into this. Okay, Treebeard says, hello, sir. In the TA course, which is recorded back in 2018, you said that there could be a few $1 billion account in Bitcoin, in crypto land. What is your thoughts now? You said that there could be a few billion, like people have accounts that are worth a few billion. Yeah. Do you mean like, what do I think that it could be? I mean, obviously it's multi-billions, there's massive ETFs with massive players in these ETFs. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'd imagine more, whatever the number is, more, double it, triple it, quadruple it. It's less so that it's more like big asset managers who are managing, billions and billions and billions of dollars. Like they're going to allocate, some amount to Bitcoin. It doesn't mean that they're trading all of it in Bitcoin. Obviously, these people have a massive portfolio of different stocks and whatnot that they're interested in. All right. Let's see. Methodical it's too hard, man. Mr. Chaos. NDA on some Canadian shitcoin exchange. There we go. I'm glad that you specified because I would have not guessed this one. Good. Actually, one of the best charts that we've seen today. Very clearly put in a daily higher low. Weekly is just working its way upwards and onwards. Yes, I do expect this one to continue to kind of consolidate within this range for a while. highs around 1.25, lows. I mean, this thing could come back down to like 85 cents and still be a higher low. I mean, this is fine. So, maybe it does try an upside move from here. Maybe it, rejects again at like 1.25, comes down here, tries for the higher low, and then tries to move to the upside. Something like that. Overall, though, I do think that this thing is probably going to see new highs in January, especially if this month closes anywhere above 115 even, actually. But that's specific to the monthly. At that point, probably due to this one, I mean, guess it just goes on a fucking run at that point. I don't really have any real targets for something like this. All right. Let's move on. We have Biff the Bear. Hey, Crown, you're my favorite crypto YouTuber aside from Elio and Becker. I'm in good company. My wife's boyfriend wants me to ask you, my friend wants me to ask you to check Cardano 4 hour. If I make 1,000 this week, he might give me permission to take her out for dinner. How nice. Very generous of him. Well, let's see. If I make $1,000, well, it depends how much you start with. That's how that equation really should go. Okay, so Carderpio here, like most things, coming off these highs pretty hard. Again, I want to see how big of a move this has been. Okay, like 50% move. Holy shit, 42.5% move. Okay, wow. Again, like a lot of things, I do think it's going to try for a bounce to open up this week. It still does. I mean, it does have a reversal in here, so I should not get too bearish on this. It does have a reversal, but the problem is that your last higher low is all the way at like 33 cents. So there's a lot of space between where it's at right now at 90 cents and 30 cents where it could find this next higher low. But the higher term timeframes are not disastrous here. It's not disastrous here, is what I'd say. Quarterly also want a reversal as well. If the quarterly closes just anywhere above 81 cents, I would say this thing is going to be primed for Q1 of this year to try another upside move. Does it make new all-time highs? I don't fucking know about that. But I guess next target, if it were to break the current highs, would be somewhere around like 170 to 180. So maybe wife's boyfriend could, maybe you could take like an IOU later on. Hey, I heard from this guy on the internet that it's probably going to go up. So can I please just give you the $1,000 a little bit later? I really want to go to this cool dinner place with my wife. I promise we won't talk for too long, and we'll conduct our dinner over Skype with a bad internet connection as well. I think you're going to be okay. Depends how long. Oh, you're on a 4 hour. Okay. You might be fucked. Clear and obvious downtrend. I don't know. It probably does still try for a bounce here. It could easily bounce up to like 105, maybe even like 110. But that's still another lower. I'd say that short-term downside is not over until it reclaims like 118, 120, something like that. All right. Brad Walt says, hello, thanks for doing this weekly. All good, man. I am wondering what ways you use to determine the strength of a divergence. Example, slope of a line between 2 points, or the no, not at all. Well, I don't know. Could the slope be an indicator? No, I don't think so. It's actually the amount of divergences. It's not the slope or nothing like that. It's how many are connected from the same high. So let me find an example. Or you don't really need an example for me to tell you. Like when you have 3 drives of divergence like you do here, it actually starts on this one right here. You have 3 drives right here. High, high, and high. That's this high, and this high. Whenever you have 3 drives of divergence, expect a pullback or a bounce, if it's bullish divergence, obviously, in this case, bearish divergence. So, if it's on a weekly time frame, probably kiss that asset goodbye for a while. It's typically what happens, and that's exactly what happened right here. So it's not like the slope or nothing like that. I haven't really found or at least if there is, I've not seen something to matter with that. What I do see matter is how many drives of divergence. So 2 is usually good enough to get a pullback, but not a reversal. 3 can get a reversal typically. Not always, there's going to be some edge cases there, obviously, but I'd say that's like a good rule of thumb I'd be going off of. Cool. All right. Bitcoin Buddy says, hey, Crown, a little forex. Sure. I love forex, actually. I just haven't looked at it in a while. My toonies are getting tuned. CAD, Canadian dollar versus the real dollar. All right. Let's see. We'll go here. Okay. Don't know when I made this chart last. It must have literally been like 4 or 5 years ago. And it's bad. Yeah, clear and obvious downtrend, as you would expect. Our little brother is not doing too well. I do think that it's probably going to try for another bounce off of this 68-cent region right here. It probably will try another bounce from there. This is a monthly look, by the way. This is very, very high term time frame stuff. But the bounce has to do so much in order for this thing to reverse. Like I have to say, it's more likely to put in another lower high and then come down. I wouldn't even consider reversals on this asset until you're back above your May of 2021 highs. And this is actually a real breakdown setup right here with low volatility already on the lows. It did bounce off of it the last time that happened, to be fair, but I don't know how much more I trust it, but whoops. But I'd give it a chance to bounce again here. If that bounce somehow some way, especially brings above May 2021 highs, but even above your July 2023 highs, then I guess there's some hopium, hopium above here, hopium confirmed above here. Until then, be wary on this next bounce, because I think it's a high probability of another lower high, man. Merry Christmas. You're going to get poorer. I'm kidding. Well, if you're holding your money in Canadian dollars, well, actually, you probably won't get poor, because you're gonna probably bounce soon here, and then you get poor. So there's a little bit of a give and a go. Can't have everything all at once. Anyways, Lucky says, thank Tron, all good, man. Made my life a lot, but that's fucking sweet to hear, man. That's super cool. Thank you, man. I hope everything's going all well. If you take a look at 96.97, that's Capcom on, I think this is Tokyo Stock Exchange, 96.97. I know that they use like just numbers for their tickers. Yeah. There we go. What time frame? Monthly. Okay. Very high term time frames here. Weekly, actually on that topic of divergence, we do see many drives coming off these last few highs. I do think that this one probably does have some more downside to extend at least 32.85 region. Maybe it even finds its way all the way down to like 3,000, 3,100, something like that. Okay, I look at the monthly then, and actually I need to revise that. It might come down to like 3,300, but overall still have to remain bullish on this thing. Have to, love a general uptrend as always. Quarterly, it does seem to me like it's getting into the end of this mega macro epic rally that has been seen since, 2017 essentially. We do have a third drive of divergence that's going to be confirmed here at some point whenever this confirms a local high. So I would be using this quarter's low at 3,000. Actually has a big pivot point below 3,000. Big fucking problems. This thing's topped for a very, 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 very long time. Until then, I'd give it the benefit of the doubt. These crazy rallies can get a little bit crazier. So yeah. Very interesting. They're like a gaming company, right? They make Resident Evil, don't they? Yeah, it's a great game. So nice. Glad to see them doing well. Peepoo says, good morning, sire. Good morning to you, Mr. Peepoo. Thank you for your consistency and all good, man. Please start Andy on the daily and full wow. Okay, Andy. What is this? Must be the new layer one. No, it's a meme coin, and it's doing meme coin things by going straight down. Do you know what's going to happen to this chart? It's getting the nuke. It's getting the nuke because the button has been pressed. Look, there's going to be bounces along the way. Maybe even tries to bounce from here, but it's lower highs the whole way through. This thing's never even known what an uptrend is on any meaningful time frame. I regret to inform you, it's quite bad. It's quite bad indeed. But yeah, short term, my bounce here could easily come up to like 1.5 of a cent if it wanted to, even like 0.2 of a cent if things really get crazy. But don't call a reversal on an asset that has never had a reversal. There's another good rule of thumb. If it only goes down like this, expect more of the same. Yes, it will get bounces, but those bounces very likely to be lower highs. And I'd say tentatively on this next bounce, somewhere around here, also a great place for another lower high in a series of lower highs on a thing that has never even known what an uptrend is. That's sad. Doesn't even know what an uptrend is. It's like dying a virgin. It's like you never knew. It's going to go on its tombstone. Never knew what an uptrend was. Wrecked for life. Prince 11 says, hey, Crown, when I first started catching your streams in 2018, I saw you using the 89 EMA along with other fib EMAs on your analysis. Today, you're not using the 89 so much anymore. Why the change? Or is it not as useful as a 2155? When it comes to doing general analysis on YouTube, I don't need as many tools. And, I was getting a lot of feedback from people that having like a bunch of moving averages. I had about 4 or 5 of them on screen. It was probably just getting confusing for a lot of people. And so I decided to take it off. The 89, does it hold importance? Yes. Is it the most important for what I look at? No, I think the 21 and 55 tell you it's like the 80-20 rule, like the Pareto principle. If you use the 21 and 55, that's going to, it's going to give you most of the information. The direction of those two will generally give you trend information and also strength of trend information as well. The 89, a little bit less so. It's more so like, a scalpable region rather than, mattering for trend. I mean, again, I can revise, I could pick apart those statements, of course, as well, but that's why it's just kind of lighting up on things on screen. If you've noticed, I've actually gone to less and less indicators over the years for that reason. Anyways, the muzzle says, "Dear sir and sir, why do you enjoy being trolled and what caused you to be this way?" I will never know, sir. Also, could you please take a look at Yaka USD and let me know what the advantages of buying the dip might be? Let's see. Keep in mind that this was posted on the 15th of December, which was about a week ago, when price was, where's 15? The price was a little bit higher than where it is right now. Yeah, look, I'm never going to like a chart like this. It's a little bit too new, though, so, it theoretically could reverse at some point out of nowhere. But I mean, it's just too new for me to do any real analysis on, to be honest, man. I can tell you where I guess I don't know if I'd say I'd get bullish on it, but I guess I would be not as bearish as if it could trade back above and specifically close back above about 1.5 cent. Until then, it's got some issues, I think. I wouldn't denigrate the current trend. Again, this thing has been around during one of the most bullish markets of all time for Bitcoin. This is like we're in the heart of a bull market. This thing has only gone down. That's not a good sign. In my book, that's a terrible sign, in fact. Anyways, Gibson says, "Hey, Crown, do you like the breakout on XMR?" Uh-oh. Also posted a week ago. Do I like the breakout now? So I'm guessing the breakout was over here. Yeah, actually I do. Not because I think it's going to go to the moon from exactly here, but I do think that it kind of insinuates that this current long-term correction, now I'm making this chart for the weekly, we're actually seeing some higher highs and higher lows now. So it does have a chance to reverse here. Maybe not exactly from this current dildo, but perhaps, over the next few months, something like this, perhaps. Again, I'm very split on whether things come down. I do think that most things will come back down again alongside Bitcoin. But of course, if Bitcoin just, pops up and reclaims like 105, like it's going to be fucking bullish, I guess. But I just think it's less likely right now. Monthly, yeah, the monthly might even follow through from here, in fact. So maybe I am wrong about that. But still, I would not discount the potential for a deeper sideways correction first and then trying to move to the upside. But when I look at the monthly, when I look at the quarterly, this is a reversal in progress. I do think it will trade up from here on the long term. Okay, I think we got time for one more. All right, two more. Shaq Attack says, what are your thoughts on funded accounts, and do you do different stop loss percentages because of the drawdown allowance? Well, one, I don't do funded accounts. I mean, when I first started trading, I was trading technically a funded account because I was trading my mentor's account, so it wasn't my money. But if you're referencing these companies like Top Step and Apex and FTMO and all of these things, there's like a million. They're a dime a dozen, really. I've read a lot of criticisms of them, and I've heard issues with like not getting payouts and shit like this, and obviously very stringent rules or very unforgiving rules for their evaluations, because the business model there is really to get people to try to get a funded account, and then they just fucking pay for the privilege of taking the evaluation. So I think that's the main business model there, or at least that's what that's what it really looks like. Of course, I do know some people who have been with some of these funded account providers, and they have not had issues over many years. So it really depends. I think it could be a good way to get started, get a little bit of experience and money under your belt. But at the end of the day, I think the goal is still the same. I really have a hard time figuring out why, if someone has the means to trade their own money, why would they trade someone else's money instead? I get that there's some risk things there. Yeah, that's, I guess maybe for some people that makes sense, but still, I guess it's a personal thing. I wouldn't do it, but, or at least, the ones that you're probably referencing, but, you could always just hit up a prop shop and try to get in there. It's going to be difficult, of course. Like, they have like real rules and like real training and shit. Not like these companies at all, but yeah. All right. Last one here. Okay. Texu says, sup ground, longtime derp watcher. Jump daily in January, circulating supply will be doubled via airdrop and moon cycle targets. If circulating supply will be doubled, is that bullish or bearish? More supply. If you have the same demand and more supply, what happens to price? Tokenomics not very good. Anyways, looking at JEP right here, looks kind of par for the course for most of these shitcoins, right? Two lines is all that are needed. Do I think it's going to try for a short-term bounce? Probably sometime this week, might even get back up towards $1. Yeah. But I would not discount the ability for it to do something like this after a bounce, come back down, maybe closer to those lows. And then if it's bullish, it'll do something like that. If it's bearish, obviously it'll put another lower high and then break down for eternity. But looking at the monthly right here, like I'm not going to love a fucking monthly bearish engulfing dildo. And if it closed below 82 cents or 83 cents, that is a bearish engulfing dildo indeed. So it's not the strongest one. But short term, should try for a bounce here. Like I said, could easily bounce like north of $1 if it wants. Where would I revise my opinions and get massively ultra mega super duper ding dong bullish? I don't know. I guess above like 130 again, but it's got a lot of work to do there. I think it's going sideways at best for a while. So yeah. All right. That's where we'll end things for today. Again, a very quiet and early notification of the sale that will be starting actually as of now. Code is ELSA in all capitals for 20% off of any one of the programs or services. And of course, the Quant Prime service, which allows you to create, test, and automate your trades, is 25% off for the lifetime of your subscription, which is the biggest and longest discount that we offer. So yeah. And again, if you want to join in the future, we have a great question here from Peter Underwood. If Bitcoin closes the year above 100,000, you have to become a lady boy. I've already started, sir. I'm already beat you to it. Have you seen my mangina? Anyways, I'll sign off on that note. As always, wishing everyone the best. Merry Christmas to all and happy holidays, or whatever fucking holiday that you're celebrating. My intention is that you have a nice one. All right. Take care. Much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.